What's up, y'all? It's Chelsea Gray, Olympic gold medalist, point guard for the Las Vegas Aces, and I'm tuned in with Out of Bounds.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to Out of Bounds. We have a very special edition. As you all know, June is Pride Month, and we are joined by one of the proud members of the Pride community, one of the proud advocates, mentors, et cetera, on top of being the point guard. We got the point guard in the building,
Yep.
mid-range queen. Oh man, hey, I could go on to, but we ain't gonna get too much. I'm a chill. We on a limited time here. Chelsea Gray in the building. Chelsea, how you doing today?
I'm pretty good. Thank you for having me. This is dope.
Thank you for coming on. You guys are coming off of that win last night in Connecticut on this East Coast road trip. The games have been tight. The games have been tight, but in it, I guess you kind of shined your light in one of the areas that you thrive the most in clutch situations. I guess just where did you really kind of develop that knack for hitting clutch shots?
Um, I've been trying to figure that out too. It's kind of like my personality is being like the calm within the storm. So in those moments, there's like a calmness that comes over me, like in the timeout or going into the possession or coming into play. And being able to execute. But a lot of the shots or passes that have been done, it's like not coming out of nowhere, right? I've practiced those shots 1,000 times. I've done that pass 1,000 times. The only thing different is the timing on the clock. To be able to rise to the occasion, it brings a sense of urgency and responsibility, but it's not something that I haven't really done before, which makes it also pretty nice and a confidence within it.
And including one of probably the biggest shot in Los Angeles Sparks history when in I believe it was Minnesota when you hit that shot, that turnaround. But anyway, I'm gonna ask you about kind of just what's your experience as a gay Black woman in America? What has that kind of been like? And when you see the situation, I think with BG last year, people were just I think a large concern from some of the public was like the fact that she was gay on top of everything else in Black.
Yeah.
Just how has that experience been for you in America and overseas?
So much to unpack there, but I guess the shorter answer is that I'm a woman. That's one thing. I am Black. That's another thing, and I am in the LGBTQ plus community. That's another thing. So you hit all of these, injustices within the person that I am, right? And so you're constantly having this fight battle, whether it be for a woman or who I love or, being Black in this world. Um, it gets taxing. It gets a little bit overwhelming sometimes. That in moments you can't just exist. You're fighting for something. You're fighting for your existence. And pride is about that, is the right to exist without persecution. There's been attacks on the community and my community all over the world. And I've played in the United States. I've also played abroad where loving a woman is not acceptable. It's um, you could be jailed for it. And so like traveling the world, experiences in and out of being okay and not being okay. It's all part of my journey. Just talking about it and being who I am for the world to see is kind of part of the resistance that I've been able to um, kind of hone in on and be a part of. So it's been great. I'm not doing it by myself. There's other stories, and I'm sure there was a lot of more stories that's untold that happened before I came into this world, and so that people before me laid the foundation. So I am able to love who I love and actually have a marriage certificate with my wife. That was not that was not always the case.
And before we get into mentorship, I do want to ask you, what was it like for you to represent Team USA in Tokyo in 2021 and stuff like that, to represent your country that allows you to get a marriage certificate and everything like that?
Yeah, there's definitely layers to it. It's a sense of pride to be able to wear that jersey. As a young kid, you would see like the Olympics, you would see the gold medals and competing at such a high level. like when I got the call, I like broke down, like crying. Like I was just like that um you work to your dreams and your goals to be there one day. And finally I'm getting the call and I'm one of 12. Like so many people wish to be in that uniform and to represent their country and win a gold medal, compete at a high level and be part of like the best of the best. Like my name is in the history books for the rest of my life and the rest of this world. Um so it was cool. Like it was hard because it was during the COVID. It was during COVID. So like the experience was a little bit different. I still was able to get my medal put around my head. Like I came back and I brought it back. And I was rushing, like wanted to go just show my wife and just look, this is what like all the hard work and dedication that goes unseen I was able to do.
And I know a lot of people were happy about you and Ariel and stuff like that, kind of getting your shine and getting, like everything like that on the team, because this was like a large discussion at the time was, the coverage of Black women in women's basketball in America and like kind of who gets the light and who gets this and who gets that. I feel like the push from the media and also like the fans kind of um, has given people like Asia Wilson, a Ruffles back cover and things of that nature, everything like that. I want to ask you about the mentorship before I go back to basketball, because I get carried away with basketball the whole time. Mentoring the LGBTQ youth, what are some of the things that you tell them to kind of keep them comfortable and whether or not they're being accepted by their family and loved ones?
I believe there's resources out there now more than ever. Um, that there's people going through it just like them. I also, without even speaking to them, me being myself, right, and being on TV, social media is a big thing, and whoever follows me or sees my page and sees my story, if I'm helping one or if I'm helping 1,000. Um, I always say like me being myself is their part of their resistance. And you mentioned Asia, like she always says, like if you can see her, you can be her. And so I think representation matters. And for younger generations to see me living out my dreams and succeeding at a high level, an educated Black woman, it's important. It's important for our youth. It's important for our world. It brings happiness to others. Sense of pride goes behind it, all the hard work and dedication, and a thankfulness. And I think there's something to be said for younger generations that look up and see somebody that looks like them now in 2023, right? It wasn't so long ago. Like we talk about like, oh, back in the day, like it wasn't that long ago. Like slavery wasn't even that long ago. It's wild. Um, so just having somebody that looks like them, achieving their dreams at a high level and enjoying life is part of what I hope to bring to the younger generation.
What is Chelsea's Gray's legacy when it's all said and done?
I think my story is still being written. I always say my overarching kind of theme that I want in my life is Black excellence. That goes into different buckets, that goes into sport, that goes into family, that goes into business, who I am as a person. I want to be a person that you always want on your side or on your team or in the room with you, whether that's a business deal, you want them, like you got to have them, you got to have a conversation with them. Maybe it doesn't work out, but let's have a conversation. You want them as a teammate. Like that's the biggest compliment, me making others better. And you want me on your team. Like, oh, we need her on our team no matter what. Um, you want me as a, family member, somebody that brings joy and happiness to a family. And for my wife, she chooses me every day and I choose her. You want that in your life. And I say that like that's the Black excellence that I'm talking about. That's being celebrated. And my story is obviously still being written with that.
Okay, now I could sneak a little bit back into the ball. You guys are 7-0 right now. Um, I think it will be an understatement to say that you entered the season with monumentous expectations. I'm not even gonna say I'm not even gonna tell you my prediction for y'all because I don't want to jinx you, everything like that. Put that on y'all. But just how is it kind of dealing with that expectation night in and night out and continuing to kind of live to that expectation early on?
um, Coming into the season, like we hear things, but we just go to work, um, try to get better, try to be the best we can be, and surrender yourself to the outcome. Like just lay the foundation. If you're in the process and you enjoy the process, the end result will be what you want it to be if you follow what the steps it takes to get there. But each game, each moment, we have a target on our back. Um, somebody, you always want to take down the top dog. We're the defending champs. We're gonna get everybody's best shot, and that's the way it should be, right? You talk about programs and organizations that has won multiple championships, like you want to be able to, all right, there's a new champ in town kind of feel. And so that's what we feel when we go into these arenas. Like it's the same feeling that we had from Seattle to Indiana to LA and now being in Connecticut. People are hunting to take us down. And so we take that with a sense of pride and responsibility and try to, you know, do our best each time out. No game is going to be 0-0 and no game, there's not going to be any mistakes. Um, so that's how we kind of look at it.
What part of do you think? All right, yeah. What part of jealousy, like if you had to put a percentage of jealousy, plays a part into the way that teams attack you guys with having your own practice facility, with having your own locker rooms, with having the chartered flights sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, what part of jealousy do you think is like
Charter flights, don't be doing that. Don't be putting us out there like
Okay, all
that.
right. Oh yeah, no, hey, legally, the legal charter flight, the legal charter. Kathy, hey,
Um,
hey, the ones that you agreed to in the CBA, Kathy. But
um,
but everything else, the practice facility, the locker rooms, everything like that. What part of that is like when people hear that you guys have that, they're like, dang, I wish I could have that. We gonna go out and show them. How much of a part do you think that plays in the competitive spirit against you all?
I think there's definitely that element to it. Um, but I also think that there's a battle going on behind the scenes. Like we have an owner that just is like pushing at the ceiling. Like he's just like, that's what you're supposed wanted to be. Nope, we're gonna do better than that. And until we have that across you know, all of the teams, it's always going to be like different fights. People, after we get across that barrier, there's going to be another fight. Um, our practice facility and everything is amazing. I couldn't imagine if, like, in the beginning of my career, if I would have had that, like, if I would be a different player, if I would have been healthier, if my shooting percentage would be different because I'll be able to get in the gym a little bit more. My diet and figuring out my body, like, would it have been different at a younger age? And so the resources is important. And so it's all about like resources and having an owner in a front office that's putting their money where their mouth is. Like it's not just about like talking and communicating on what you want, but actually putting resources and money and funds and dollar signs behind it, behind women athletes is what our organization is all about.
Essentially saying the Davis family ain't throwing on the orange hoodies. They, I want to say this with the how is it, the most basic question you get all season long? How is it reconnecting with CP? How has that kind of been this year?
It's been cool, man. Like when we went our separate ways, and I went to Vegas and she went to Chicago. Like we kind of said our goodbye. It was a little emotional, of like, dang, we're not gonna play with each other again in an opportunity to win a championship. So that was like a stinger for us. But what's funny is that like we actually got closer because our communication being apart had to become a lot more intentional. Um, because we weren't seeing each other every day and relied on, all right, I'll see you tomorrow. It was like, no, let's actually make time. There would be times where we'd be on the phone for hours or whatever, just talking about nothing with our families. So it's been cool, like flash forward to this year of like her coming and being around her family, her being around mine, and kind of like the family like intersecting again. And it's like back to old times. Like I got my fam with me now. And then on the court, like her game is just, her IQ, her level of like how she sees the game has been amazing. Her versatility on both ends of the floor. Like she's been a defensive player of the year. She's been an MVP offensively. Like she's done everything. So to be able to have that expertise in the locker room, that veteran leadership in the locker room, um, it poses a different challenge for that other locker room, man. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna lie to you. Like her being able to push the ball and is a different look for us offensively. Her being able to switch defensively, like it just brings different dynamics that other teams do not have the luxury of having.
And I have two more questions here as we're running out of time. The first of those two questions is I wanted to ask you about the importance of dying to self. You guys have four number 1 draft picks in the starting lineup, 5 all stars, all starting, and then you have Clark coming off the bench, who's also one of the better players of our generation. So, what is the importance of dying to self? Like out there, you get yours here. I feel like I got it going, but I'm not getting the ball as much. Like, how do you kind of surrender that for the greater good?
Man, the life of a point guard, right? That's been my life for a lot of my playing career, is finding those moments and having that balance. And I think that's what sets me apart, and that's um what makes me pretty good and pretty damn good, is like being able to bring the best out of others, hold them accountable, but also not lose sight of me. I would 100% rather like my stat line be like 10 assists, 8 points, I'm trying to go for the double double, to kind of do that just for that sake. But I love making others better. Like I said, like Black excellence, making others better, and you want me on your team. That's the biggest compliment that I can get as a player, and that's what my legacy will ultimately, hopefully, be end up being. Um, but we have a coach that prides herself on playing the right way. And I think when you have a coach like that, you dive head first into the plan. And whoever the open man is, you got to give it to him. Obviously, there's moments in time and scores where we might have the ball in someone's hands. Um, but just because it's in your hands doesn't mean that you're the person that's going to take the shot. It's in your hands for you to make the right decision. And that's what her communication, what her philosophy has always been. And what I really appreciate is that some of that I don't have to do, because she's already instilled that into our organization.
Right, right. And my final question is how can people connect with you personally on social media and then just all the efforts that you're doing, for the Pride community and for the Olympics and Paralympic community as well.
Yeah, you can find me on all my social handles. It's cgray209, Instagram, Twitter. I do have a TikTok. Haven't been on it as much, but I'm trying to get there. But I do things with my partners. I've done things with Adidas. There's some things that will be in the works later on this month, when we go back to Las Vegas, because we've been on this road trip to start June. But I think just me being myself is part of like growing the game, but also allowing others to see people that look like them.
Chelsea Gray, the point guard, everybody, Olympic gold medalist, a Pride advocate of the Pride community and mentor in the Pride community, and a member of the super team, the Las Vegas. I ain't gonna do that. Yeah. But until next time, you all please take care of yourselves. I'm Rashad Milligan, as always, for Out of Bounds. Chelsea, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.